The British exited India in a violent partition on August the 14th, 1947. The new dominion of West and East Pakistan was carved out of India. A country united by Islam, but divided by 1,000 miles of each other, differing in culture and language. 24 years later, a civil war rips the country in 1971, pitting Bengali nationalists and the Pakistani military.
I will not come in the way of the maximum possible autonomy to East Pakistan, as long as it doesn't amount to a separate Pakistan.
And I am fighting for a principle, for a cause, and for the emancipation and freedom of my people.
With eyewitness accounts, we examine the reasons behind the violent birth of Bangladesh from East Pakistan. And unearth the wounds that refuse to heal in modern-day Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a young Muslim country that gained independence in 1971. Its political, cultural, and economic microcosm is the capital city of Dhaka. Its 17 million inhabitants are proud of their cultural heritage and pluralistic values. This building in downtown Dhaka is a living reminder of the scars of war that distinguished the country's bloody battle for independence. The Liberation War Museum houses 21,000 artifacts from the 9-month-long battle against the Pakistani army in 1971.
This is a submachine gun used by the freedom fighters.
Mofidul Haq, a trustee of the museum, personally collected artifacts from the Bengali freedom movement's fight against the Pakistani army.
Liberation War Museum was established in 1996. The door was opened on 22nd March 1996 at a rented 2-story building. This is about the resistance, the people's struggle, how they organized themselves, and then in various areas which were freed from the Pakistani occupation, and also how they took the training and entered into the territory and confronted the Pakistan army. So it's now really a institution of national pride.
But one man's picture overshadows everything in the galleries. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, known as Bangabandhu, or Friend of Bengal today, of a country named after its national language, Bangla.
বঙ্গবন্ধু আমাদের জাতির পিতা এবং আমার মতে বাংলাদেশের বা বাঙালির সবচেয়ে বড় নেতা উনি।
বঙ্গবন্ধু যদি শব্দটাকে আমরা বিশ্লেষণ করি তাহলে তারা বাংলার বন্ধু। গোপালগঞ্জের কোটালীপাড়ায় জন্মগ্রহণ করেছিল আমাদের প্রাণপ্রিয় নেতা, আমাদের জাতির পিতা বঙ্গবন্ধু।
Nearly 70 years ago, Mujib, a student leader from the Bengal province, fought valiantly for the creation of Pakistan. The Muslim-majority country was born in violence on August the 14th, 1947. Splitting the provinces of Bengal and Punjab off from India, it led to mass migrations. Hindus moved towards India and Muslims to Pakistan.
There were 2 boxes placed before the voters. Pakistan was written on one box and Hindustan was written on the other box.
Rohidad Khan was a young Muslim presiding officer in 1947 when he opted for Pakistan.
It was like a dream come true. We found it very difficult to believe that the day had come for the British to leave India. The Muslims are going to have their own sovereign, independent, progressive country in those parts in India where they were in a majority, you see. I saw the Union Jack coming down and the Pakistan flag going up. 14th August 1947, you see.
The anger and pain of leaving their homes soon turned violent. Hindus and Muslims, who once lived together, were out for each other's blood.
I saw truckloads of dead bodies and wounded person being brought to the hospital. And at night, you could hear, Pakistan Zindabad, Pakistan Zindabad, and other people saying, the Hindus and the Muslims, condemning the division of Pakistan and raising slogans and killing each other,
Despite the violence, Muhammad Ali Jinnah of the Muslim League led Pakistan's independence in the Muslim-majority areas of British India. West Pakistan formed on one side, and the province of Bengal became East Pakistan. 1,000 miles of India separated the two.
Pakistan was created on the assumption that there are only two nations that inhabit the Indian subcontinent, Hindus and Muslims, and that they can never live together. That was Mr. Jinnah's premise. That was the basis on which Pakistan was formed.
But the idea of Muslim unity soon started to crumble, with East Pakistan and West Pakistan drifting away as early as 1948. Ramna Racecourse, Maidan, 1948. Founder of East and West Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, arrives in East Pakistan on his first and last speech in Dhaka.
Let me make it very clear to you, leave no doubt that the state language of Pakistan is going to be Urdu and no other language. And anyone who tries to mislead you is really the enemy of Pakistan.
Jinnah's bid to unite the country by language exacerbated the divisions further. East Pakistan, which constituted 57% of Pakistan's population, demanded that their mother language, Bengali, be made the state language. Rafiqul Islam, then a 7th grade student living in Dhaka, was present at Ramna Racecourse Maidan on this historic day.
Besides Urdu, they also tried to change the script of Bangla. And once they tried to impose Arabic script, that means the Urdu script, because Urdu is written in Arabic or Persian script anyway. They tried to make one single language, that is a Pakistani language, which is a very utopian idea, because nobody can create a language, It's not that one can create a language by a martial law ordinance. So all sorts of this madness, I don't know were there among the Pakistani leaders.
Mujib, a young student leader, was soon disillusioned as the bureaucracy of the Hindu was merely replaced by that of West Pakistan.
Dhaka was without any infrastructure. Dhaka was not competent enough to become the capital of United Pakistan. So that's why Karachi became a capital of United Pakistan. When Karachi became capital of United Pakistan, so the whole power also transferred to West Pakistan.
Before the language issue could be settled, on September the 11th, 1948, Pakistan's founding father, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, dies in Karachi due to a stroke.
When I heard that Mr. Jinnah had passed away, it was like lights going out, and Pakistan was plunged in darkness, And we were all wondering, who is going to look after Pakistan now that Mr. Jinnah is gone, And there were demonstration processions all over. Jinnah is not dead, Jinnah is alive, But people were not really prepared, for the untimely death of Mr. Jinnah,
Time was ripe for a young Mujib to begin the Bangla language movement at Dhaka University with immediate effect.
They didn't realize, I think, how deeply attached Bengalis were to their language, I think if Mr. Jinnah had announced that there will be two national languages, one will be Urdu and the other will be Bengali, perhaps there would have been no trouble, you see.
The language controversy had pushed Mujib, an ardent fan of Jinnah, into becoming a Bengali nationalist who now saw West Pakistan as an imperial power.
Everybody is very puzzled about why an astute politician like Mr. Jinnah would have thought that his statement that Urdu should be the national language of Pakistan, the official language of Pakistan, would be welcomed in Bengal, because the Bengalis are a proud people. For anybody to come from outside, one who doesn't even know their language, to come and say that, no, you must change your language so that it suits the government, the central government in Karachi, West Pakistan, is what is good for Pakistan. Well, that was simply not acceptable.
The stage was set for a violent clash that was to define the growing Bengali nationalist movement. The growing Bengali language movement in East Pakistan was a ticking time bomb. It exploded into violence on the 21st of February 1952, when student activists clashed with police. 11 student leaders were gunned down in a brutal crackdown by the West Pakistan authorities.
On that day, for their mother tongue, the Bengalis laid down their lives. So that changed the whole scenario of the eastern part of the subcontinent.
Massive protests, led by Mujib, resulted in Bengali finally being accepted as the national language in 1956. But limited representation of Bengalis in government jobs due to racism was a simmering issue.
West Pakistanis, and I include myself as a young boy and then as a teenager, being very racist, because we were told, look, the Bengalis, they can't be really good Muslims because they're dark and they don't speak Urdu.
West Pakistan was also complicit in creating constitutional problems for East Pakistan.
They could not produce a constitution in 2 years' time, you see, They delayed it, they went on, they delayed it, you see, They did not accept the majority of East Pakistan.
Against rising agitation, the one-unit formula was crafted and implemented to bring parity between East and West Pakistan. Introduced in 1956, both wings were to get 40 seats each in the Constituent Assembly in Karachi under this scheme.
Without knowing how to balance the two, they created two provinces, merging the West Pakistan into one unit, 4 provinces. Now, obviously, it solved the problem for the time being.
The power-sharing formula was seen as a conspiracy in East Pakistan to eliminate their majority in the country. Protests, led by Mujib, began. To quell all instability, elections were announced in 1959. Before the elections could be held, the Pakistan Army struck. Military Chief Ayub Khan seized power in 1958 in his bid to boost the economic growth of both East and West Pakistan.
Well, you people have gone through this process for a long, long time. And I think Western type of democracy, when you talk about that type of democracy only exists north of the English Channel, doesn't it? It hasn't really successfully worked anywhere else.
If anyone called you a military dictator, how would you answer?
Well, I'll say talking bloody rubbish, that's all.
A 5-year economic plan was launched by Ayub, in which great advances were made in infrastructure and military development. The Bengalis, however, were not invited to share in this development.
Pakistan was ruled by the military rulers from 1958. So Pakistan Army was more cruel and more arrogant. And they thought that they can just keep the Bengalis under their feet.
The center of gravity shifted, from the parliament to to the GHQ, and the Bengalis said, we are not represented in the army, you see. So this is not the Pakistan that we fought for.
Ayub Khan transformed West Pakistan into a rapidly developing country. Pakistan became the fastest growing economy in Asia, outstripping Japan, India, and China at the time. It was dubbed the Decade of Development for West Pakistan. East Pakistan, however, wasn't on Ayub's economic agenda.
At that time, the main export was jute, and jute was produced only in East Pakistan. And the whole earning was spent for the development of Pakistan. And East Pakistan remained totally neglected.
Ayub's priority was the military. He pumped millions into arming it to bolster West Pakistan's defense capacity against India.
East Pakistanis had big argument that despite there being a majority of population, they were getting less money.
The martial law years under Ayub Khan systematically stomped on Bengali rights, leading to East Pakistan's demand for an autonomous province free from West Pakistan control.
That is when I think the process of Bangladesh movement became stronger.
We had refused our share in the civil service or in the army or in the industrial sector or in the export. So East Pakistan was colonized by the West Pakistanis.
The outbreak of war between Pakistan and India in 1965 over the disputed territory of Kashmir intensified East Pakistani's sense of vulnerability.
The only thing which kept the two countries together by then was the fear of India as a common enemy. But the 65 war exploded that fear also, because East Pakistan realized that West Pakistan could not really defend them.
Bengali nationalist leader Mujib viewed this as West Pakistan's lack of interest in protecting East Pakistan.
More pain was added with the statements of General Ayub Khan in East Pakistan. And he said that the Bengalis, if they want to become part of Pakistan army, they are not fit because they are not very well educated and they are not well-built people. So definitely this attitude of the ruling class in West Pakistan created misunderstandings in the hearts and mind of the Bengalis.
In 1966, Mujib released a 6-point plan. It envisaged autonomy to all provinces and a separate army and a separate currency for East Pakistan.
6-point became a very, very popular political program throughout the country, and within 35 days of 1966, he had 32 political big meetings in different parts of the country, and he toured all over the Bangladesh and he visited different districts.
Mujib was arrested in response for plotting the breakup of East Pakistan.
And he became a national hero. The title Bangabandhu, Friend of Bengal, was given to him by the students and all other communities. And he became the leader, unchallenged leader of Bangladesh.
Due to intense agitation in East Pakistan, in 1969, General Ayub handed over power to his military chief, General Yahya Khan, who promised democratic elections for Pakistan in 1970.
Of course, they are the majority province. They must have means and methods whereby, in the overall policies of Pakistan, they must have full powers of making decisions for themselves.
Mujib, the leader of the Bengali nationalist movement, wanted the prime ministership of the country. A new challenger had emerged. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto launched the Pakistan People's Party in West Pakistan in 1967. Both men were now vying for the top spot. Mujib as the crusader for Bengali nationalism, and Bhutto as the prophet of Pakistani unity. Dr. Mubashir Hassan, a founding member of the Pakistan People's Party in 1967, knew the country was heading for a political split.
Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was a highly intelligent, articulate, the most brilliant star that has appeared on the horizon of Pakistan. He was fiercely Pakistani nationalist.
But just before the elections, on November the 12th, 1970, a powerful cyclone destroyed 45% of East Pakistan's infrastructure. More than 1 million Bengalis lost their lives. Limited relief operations were provided by the Yahya Khan government. As global condemnation grew, President Yahya Khan visited East Pakistan to calm tempers.
I know the extent of disaster, I know, but the mounting an operation of this size and magnitude requires time to build up.
There has been a great deal of criticism, President, about...
Well, I can't help people criticizing. The point is, my government and my people are at it the whole time. My job is to get on with the work and forget the criticism.
He should have stayed there for at least a week. It would have made all the difference. It would have made all the difference, you know. He didn't do that, you know. He did, and created this impression that he couldn't care less, you see. You know.
December the 7th, 1970, Yahya Khan finally called a general election, the first in Pakistan's history. A lack of hurricane aid translated into a landslide victory for Mujib at the polls in East Pakistan. Mujib's Awami League won a landslide victory by winning a majority in the National Assembly. Backed by Yahya Khan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was unwilling to accept the election results.
Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's People's Party became the second largest political party. But you know, the Yahya Khan of Pakistan, the president, he did not like to hand over power to the leaders of the then East Pakistan.
Precious days passed, and power still wasn't handed over to Mujib as the rightful prime minister.
It is up to them now to decide what to do. But I can tell you one thing. Nobody should play with the fire. Nobody should try to suppress the 70 million people.
I was managing director of Pakistan Television when election 70 was held. And there was just myself and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So he just sat in front of me on his chair and I was facing him. Then I asked Sheikh Sahib, there are people in West Pakistan who look forward to meeting you. See. Why don't you come to West Pakistan? And he said, oh, West Pakistan is too far. And it costs too much to get there, you see. It's then that I realized that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had lost interest in undivided Pakistan, you see.
It was at this juncture that Mujib knew that living in a united Pakistan was not possible. On the 7th of March 1971, Sheikh Mujib thundered at the Ramna Racecourse Maidan for an armed struggle for East Pakistan's independence. Yahya Khan decided to visit East Pakistan to hold negotiations with Mujib over a transfer of power. Mubashir Hassan accompanied the West Pakistan team, representing Zulfikar Ali Bhutto.
We had agreed to 5.5 points. By we, I mean Mr. Bhutto.
They never considered any demand just in the guise of conversation. They were bringing out troops, arms from West Pakistan to East Pakistan.
Under the cover of negotiations, President Yahya Khan positions Pakistan to brutally crush East Pakistan's nationalist dream. Led by the charismatic Bengali nationalist leader Mujibur Rahman, the Awami League's landslide victory in the 1970 East Pakistan election was deeply resented in Karachi. Rohidad Khan, the information secretary of President Yahya Khan in 1970, says confrontation was inevitable.
The result of the election was not acceptable to the army of Pakistan, number one. They said, "Ye to udhar le jayega humko, ye GHQ ko, he will get it transferred, to Dhaka and all other things." Number one. Number two, also very cruel irony, Mr. Bhutto was not prepared to play the role of leader of the opposition, you see, and he was interested only in the top job. And in order to, if it was necessary to break up the country in order to get the top job, so be it,
On March the 26th, 1971, the day after his firebrand speech at Ramna Racecourse, calling for Bangladesh's independence, Mujibur Rahman was arrested and jailed in West Pakistan. At 2:30 p.m. that day, the independence of Bangladesh was declared on behalf of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman from Kaloghat radio station, and the battle for independence began. The Pakistan Army responded immediately with full force. West Pakistan's top general was sent to oversee the crackdown.
General Niazi was sent from West Pakistan to East Pakistan to take over the Eastern Command. So he said that I will change the race of these bloody Bengalis.
Pakistani journalist Anthony Mascarenhas was sent to East Pakistan on a Pakistan Army guided tour. Because of the press crackdown, the rest of the world knew almost nothing about the brutal military repression that was now occurring in East Pakistan.
Pakistan Army established their control over the territory. They have invited foreign journalists to come and see. They try to show that everything is calm and quiet, it is peaceful, but only few intruders across the border are creating disturbance. They call them miscreants, and also India is interfering into the internal affair of Pakistan. But the journalist being a journalist, and also Anthony Mascarenhas being familiar with the reality of East Pakistan and West Pakistan, he could understand even in this guided tour.
On the 13th of June, 1971, an article called Genocide by Anthony Mascarenhas exposed the brutality of Pakistan's crackdown in East Pakistan. The opinion piece resulted in international condemnation pouring in from all parts of the globe. Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi saw this as a golden opportunity to dismember Pakistan by aiding the Bengali freedom movement. Millions of refugees from East Pakistan had already started trickling into India to escape the hostilities. Gandhi ordered the Indian Army to begin recruiting Bengali freedom fighters called the Mukti Bahini. The aim was to launch guerrilla-styled attacks on the Pakistani army and to prepare the ground for an all-out war by the Indian military against Pakistan.
We had a whole lot of Mukti Bahini with us who had escaped from Bangladesh and who were going to help us during the operations. And then finally, on around, I think, the 3rd or 4th of December 71, we were asked to move in.
Henry Kissinger informed President Nixon that Indira Gandhi is planning to attack not only East Pakistan but also West Pakistan, and she want to grab Azad Kashmir and she want to liberate East Bengal.
As military and diplomatic support from India grew, the Bengalis gathered confidence.
The freedom fighters entered into the country and launched into the battle. And there were about 90,000 freedom fighters who were trained.
As the Mukti Bahini launched attacks, Bengali members of the Pakistan Army refused to obey orders by May 1971. General Shafiullah was a battalion commander of the 2 East Bengal Rifles who rebelled against the Pakistani army.
It was my battalion. তাদের নিয়ে আমি একটা শপথ বাক্য পাঠ করাই যে সবার হাতে একটা করে পতাকা দিয়ে যে আজকের থেকে আমরা বাংলাদেশের সৈন্য, যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আমরা পাকিস্তানিদের আমাদের দেশ থেকে বিতাড়িত করতে পারছি ততদিন পর্যন্ত আমরা লড়ে যাব, যা হয় হবে।
The Pakistan army, now viewed as an occupying force, was outnumbered. Pakistan government buildings and army personnel were targeted in guerrilla attacks as East Pakistan descended into civil war.
They took position against the Liberation Army from here, and they fired the 3 inches mortar from here, and they killed so many innocent Bengalis.
Shahryar Kabir became a freedom fighter against West Pakistan's forces in 1971 after watching their murderous campaign.
At that time, you won't find not a single family in Bangladesh who has not lost their near and dear ones. There were killing fields around Dhaka, in Rayar Bazar, in Mirpur, in Mahamadpur. There are many killing fields. The dead bodies of the intellectuals, they were thrown there. And our family members, they were desperately looking for dead bodies of their near and dear ones.
On December the 3rd, 1971, Pakistan launched preemptive airstrikes against India on the Western Front to divert attention from East Pakistan. A full-blown war had now begun on both the eastern and western fronts of Pakistan. To retaliate against the Mukti Bahini, the Pakistani army raised a guerrilla force from the Jamaat-e-Islami, a religious party supporting its cause in East Pakistan.
Jamaat-e-Islami was the collaborator organization of Pakistan Army. They collaborated with Pakistan in the name of Al-Badr, Al-Shams and Rajakar. They were against our independence.
Pakistan army called for reinforcements from West Pakistan, but India closed its airspace, cutting the connection between the two wings. On the 9th of December 1971, as the Indian Army and Mukti Bahini troops took control of East Pakistan cities, India recognized the new state of Bangladesh. Mujib, languishing in a West Pakistani jail, had little or no clue about the success of the Mukti Bahini at home.
I can't express what the scenes were like. The Hindus and the Bangladeshis were just overjoyed, and they were coming and embracing us. They were overjoyed to see that the Indian army has finally come in.
Heavily outnumbered, West Pakistan's military strategy was unable to counter the guerrilla attacks launched by the Mukti Bahini and the Indian army.
From the very beginning, the Pakistan strategy was that the defense of the East lies in the West, which means West Pakistan at the time. East Pakistan was always left defenseless from the very day it became part of Pakistan, 1947 onwards. And the amount of forces that they were there to defend, 4 division-sized forces with barely any tanks, barely any guns, which was totally defenseless.
Pakistan's army in East Pakistan received orders to surrender on December the 16th, 1971.
We were not in favor of a ceasefire. मैंने उसको कहा याया खान को, I said, well, we have lost East Pakistan, but that's not the end of the war, you see, I think quite capable of giving them a bloody nose, you see, You know what he told me? He said in Urdu, छोड़ो यार, ये काले बंगालियों की खातिर हम वेस्ट पाकिस्तान को खतरे में डाल दें.
Indian Army Chief Jagjit Singh Arora signed the Instrument of Surrender with General Niazi of the Pakistan Army in Dhaka. Then a captain, General Shafiullah, still remembers the historic surrender of December the 16th, 1971.
এক পর্যায়ে আমি দেখি যে নিয়াজি তার সিগনেচারটা পুরা করে নেই, এ কে নিয়া। তা আমি জেনারেল অরোরাকে বললাম যে স্যার হি হ্যাজ নট কমপ্লিটেড হিজ সিগনেচার। তো তাকে দিতে আবার তার ওখানে ওই ZZI লেখা দিচ্ছে নিয়া লিখে রাখছে জি লেখা নাই তো এটা সিগনেচার করার পরে চারিদিক থেকে মানুষ জয় বাংলা স্লোগান দিয়ে
Well, at that time it was a mixed feeling because we have lost so many of our colleagues, so many people, so many relatives at the one side. In another side, there was a mixed feeling. In one way, we were very happy and jovial about our newly earned independence, but on the other hand, we lost everything.
It is estimated that between 300,000 and 3 million civilians were killed in East Pakistan.
Well, it's both propaganda and both exaggeration of history, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that atrocities did not happen to the Bengalis. This was a very bitter war. There were two sides of the story always. Before the Pakistan Army's crackdown happened in March, there were West Pakistanis who were brutally killed by the same forces who used to call them Mukti Banis.
According to Indian accounts, 93,000 Pakistani troops and civilians were taken in as prisoners of war. In January 1972, a month after the surrender, West Pakistan released Mujibur Rahman, who returned to Bangladesh to a rousing reception. The fate of a united Pakistan was firmly sealed. The vision of Muhammad Ali Jinnah squandered within 24 years. Sheikh Mujib was sworn in as the first Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Expectations on Mujibur Rahman to deliver as the new country's saviour were exceedingly high.
As regards our relation with Pakistan, I expect Mr. Bhutto to accept the reality of the independent, sovereign People's Republic of Bangladesh.
The troubles for the newly created state weren't over yet, as Mujib was soon to discover. Bangladesh was born in abject poverty, rising unemployment, and an infrastructure badly destroyed by the war in 1971. Bengalis hoped that the new nation's focus would be on economic development as they returned home from refugee camps in India. Mujib toured the world, trying to secure economic aid for his war-ravaged people.
I am deeply conscious of the fact that it is necessary to maintain a framework of law and order, and in order to enable the people to undertake the task of national building. It is but natural that those who have suffered from the cruelties of the Pakistan forces and their local collaborators are at the moment imbued with bitterness.
Mujib was a man in a hurry. In 1972, he introduced a secular constitution for Bangladesh. In 1973, war crimes tribunals were set up throughout the country to investigate the Jamaat-e-Islami's support of the Pakistani army during the Liberation War. In order to bring economic and political stability to the country, Mujib established a national unity government in 1975, banning all political parties and the independent press. The trappings of power proved seductive. Corruption became rife under the new administration, and unrest simmered at the one-party state that had been created. The Bangladesh army decided to strike back. On the 15th of August 1975, Mujibur Rahman and his family were all assassinated at his residence in a military coup.
Every member of his family was killed, except in 2 daughters, because they were not in the country. The present Prime Minister, who is the daughter of the founding father of the nation, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she was out of the country. Her youngest sister, she was out of the country. So these 2 daughters of the father of the nation survived.
The military conspirators were all promoted, but chaos reigned. Coup and counter-coup were all mounted by warring factions within the military before General Zia-ur-Rahman secured power as president of the country.
Bangladesh adopted a secular democratic constitution in 1972. So that is one reason that the pro-Pakistanis in Bangladesh, they didn't like it. And that's why, that resulted the brutal assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. It was the pro-Pakistani armies who wanted to change the constitution, who wanted to stop the ongoing trial of the Bangladesh, genocide.
The Bangladesh military, under General Zia, amended the constitution to recognize Islam and halted the war crimes tribunals against the Jamaat-e-Islami. As political agitation continued in the streets, General Zia's wife, Khaleda Zia, launched the Bangladesh National Party, supported by the Jamaat-e-Islami, to Islamize Bangladesh again. The continuing battle between Islamic and secular forces for control refused to go away. Mujib's daughter, Sheikh Hasina, returned to Bangladesh to reclaim her father's secular vision for Bangladesh. In 1981, she was made leader of her father's party, the Awami League. In 1996, Mujib's daughter, Sheikh Hasina, won power in elections and became the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. In 1999, she revived the War Crimes Tribunal, her father's unfulfilled wish. Hasina consolidated her grip on power, continuing her electoral success as the new century dawned. Nearly 13 years later, in June 2012, key figures from the Jamaat-e-Islami, including leader Abdul Qadir Mullah, were imprisoned for life. But the Bangladeshi youth disagreed with the verdict. They wanted the war criminals hanged. Imran Sarkar launched the Shahbag movement in 2013 to force the government to reverse the life imprisonment sentences and hang perpetrators of the 1971 war crimes.
পাকিস্তান আর্মির এত দূর থেকে 1200 মাইল দূর থেকে এসে বাংলাদেশের কারা মুক্তিযুদ্ধের পক্ষে, কারা মুক্তিযুদ্ধ করছে, কারা বাংলাদেশের নাগরিক, এদের চিনিয়ে দেওয়াটা সহজ ছিল না। মূলত এই যে চিনিয়ে দেয়া এবং এখানকার স্থানীয় কোলাবোরেটর হিসেবে যে মূল দায়িত্বটি পালন করেছে সেটি হচ্ছে জামায়াতে ইসলাম। রাজাকার হচ্ছে মূলত যারাই স্বাধীনতার বিরোধিতা করেছে তারাই রাজাকার।
The Jamaat-e-Islami struck back against the Shahbag movement's demands with countrywide protests of their own. Bangladesh, a country that separated from the Islamic nationalism of Jinnah, was now, once again, breaking into religiously motivated violence. Hundreds of thousands of people rallied together on the streets over the issue of redemptive death sentences for the accused.
কিন্তু আমরা দেখেছি আমাদের মুক্তিযোদ্ধা, আমাদের বাবাদের, আমাদের চাচাদের এবং আমাদের উত্তরসূরিদের। আমরা এখানে এসেছি আজকে সমবেত হয়েছি রাজাকারদের ফাঁসির দাবিতে। আমরা ঢাকা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের স্টুডেন্ট, আমাদের একটাই দাবি আজকে রাজাকারের ফাঁসি চাই। আর কোনো দাবি নাই আমাদের, এখন একটাই দাবি শুধু রাজাকারের ফাঁসি।
The country was now split into the religious right supporters of the Jamaat-e-Islami and the secular crusaders of the Shahbag movement.
সেই আপোষকামিতার বিরুদ্ধে মূলত রাজপথে স্বতঃস্ফূর্তভাবে মানুষ 5 ফেব্রুয়ারি 2013 সালে রাজপথে নেমে আসে। কেননা 5 ফেব্রুয়ারিতেই একটি রায় ছিল যে যুদ্ধাপরাধী কাদের মোল্লা, যে বাংলাদেশে একজন কসাই কাদের নামে পরিচিত, যে একসাথে একদিনে 344 জন মানুষকে হত্যা করেছিল একই গ্রামের।
Amid objections from the United Nations over the trial, Abdul Qadir Mullah was finally hanged on December the 13th, 2013. Bomb blasts, arson attacks and clashes with the police broke out in Bangladesh following the execution of Mullah, splitting the country along ideological grounds. Today, as Bangladesh continues to be divided between secularism and rising Islamist narratives, a 500,000 community still resides in Dhaka without any nationality. They're known as the stranded Pakistanis of Bangladesh. This ethnic Bihari minority stayed loyal to Pakistan when they migrated to East Pakistan in 1947 from India. Today, these people are lost in limbo, with neither India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh claiming them. Jabbar Khan heads the stranded Pakistanis of Bangladesh in Camp Geneva, a temporary encampment that has been running since 1971.
शेख मुजीबुर रहमान साहब जीत करके आए थे, अगर उनको दे दिया जाता, प्राइम मिनिस्टर बना दिया जाता तो क्या वो खा जाते पाकिस्तान को। और भुट्टो साहब क्या नाम है को बना दिया गया तो भुट्टो साहब ने क्या सोने का पाकिस्तान बना दिया। कोई बात नहीं, तो बात ये थी कि इक़्तिदार हमारे हाथ में रहे, इक़्तिदार की जंग थी, इक़्तिदार के लिए दो कौम को लड़ा दिया।
Housed in cramped conditions with no sanitation, these stranded Pakistanis do not have travel documents of any country. A homeless people that once dreamt of a prosperous life in a new Muslim nation when they responded to Jinnah's call in 1947, today they struggle to survive.
जाहिर सी बात है, जिन्ना साहब के पाकिस्तान बनने के बाद पाकिस्तान की हैयत बिगड़ गई, पाकिस्तान की शक्ल बिगड़ गई और पाकिस्तान से जो एक्सपेक्ट था, जो उम्मीद थी, वो बदल गया। एक्चुअली में एक्सप्लॉयटेशन अगर किसी कौम का हुआ है तो हमारा हुआ है। सरकारी मुलाजमत के दरवाजे हमारे लिए बंद थे, एकदम मुकम्मल। बहुत सारे लोगों को क्या नाम है ये अनडिजायरेबल पर्सनालिटी बोल करके निकाल दिया गया।
The events of 1971 may now be long over, but the pain and misery of this group of stranded Pakistanis continues to haunt.
उनके क्लैरियन कॉल पर हम लोग पाकिस्तान आए और आने के बाद ट्रेन के डिब्बे में रहे, खुद ही खाया, 3-3 महीना तनख्वाह नहीं मिलती थी। हमने रेल को चलाया, हमने TNT को चलाया, हमने सेक्रेटेरिएट को चलाया। या यहाँ के लोगों का कोई कसूर नहीं, का कसूर पाकिस्तान के जो पाकिस्तान में लोग रह रहे हैं उन्होंने पाकिस्तान को तोड़ा है।
What started as a dream of a separate state for the Muslims of South Asia in 1947 has turned into a nightmare for both Pakistan and Bangladesh. The battle between secularism and Islam continues to rage in Bangladesh in a long simmering feud that continues to disturb the political cohesion of the South Asian region's youngest Muslim state.
Bangla!